Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge Ms. Ann Jenkins, to say thank you very much for this opportunity, and also to acknowledge all that are here, special guests that are sitting among us, and to acknowledge all of you wonderful people here tonight. I would also like to take this moment to acknowledge a special group of youth that are with us tonight. And they're here from Metropolitan Ministries. Can we give them a round of applause? Before I get into what everybody who is awaiting, I want to acknowledge that God has given me a special mission. And for the last 2-3 weeks, I've been blessed to work with, motivate, inspire those young people right there from Metropolitan Ministries. We have created a bond that will carry them on until greatness, success, and prosperity. In talking with them and all, we know we have distractions in our lives. But let me let you know about distractions real quick. Distractions last only 2 minutes. You just have to make that choice. Are you going to go with that distraction, or are you going to get back to the mission at hand? That's going to give you to the next pinnacle of your success, to the next prosperity of your pinnacle. We all got choices, and we must make the choice. Either we're going to succeed or we're going to fall back. We got to be aware of what I call the focus breakers. Those are the ones that step before you with the I can't. Those are the ones that step before you, geared to turn you around like a detour sign. Those are the ones that will step before you with jolly in their mind, but pain coming out of their mouth. Those are the focus breakers that we must be aware of, because they will distract you from your purpose here in life. The next one, we all fall. Like Donnie McKirkland said, but we get up. LeBron James, he don't hit every shot. Michael Jordan didn't either, and the one and only Julius Erving didn't either. But the beautiful thing about missing a shot, the beautiful thing about falling, is called rebound. We can get right back up, like the Spinners said in their song, Rubber Band Man. So you got to know how to bounce back from adversity. I am the prime target here tonight. When I say adversities and bounce back, though God brought me here on Thanksgiving morning, He didn't bring me here on Thanksgiving morning to live all the way up to this day in total success. I had to go through them things called trials and tribulations to get to this success. So that means that through my tears, and why me, because each one of you all out there, you're guilty, because you said, why me? But the question and the answer of why me is, why not you? Because you're sitting here success. So we all had to rebound, and we had to come back if we were determined. All those naysayers and focus breakers, we had to move them to the side. We had to, in basketball talk, we had to dominate the middle to get to the goal. And when I speak of gold, gold is not a long pencil. Gold is a short pencil. Why, you may ask? Because on the end of that pencil, there is lead, L-E-A-D. And when you put that lead to the paper, you can write down your goals. And you can study those goals 24/7, because those goals are going to eventually run off your lips, because it's already in your molecules. It's something that you remember, so we must write down those goals, because those goals are going to guide us and tell us when those focus breakers are coming to attack. Move to the side. And lastly, failure. by show of hands, how many of you have ever said, I'm a failure? Be real with it. Be 100 with it, like my young people say. I have said it and I have cried. But I didn't realize that I fail in a lot of things, but it does not make me a failure.
That's right.
I'm standing here and I'm remembering out in the outfield. Coach had me in the outfield. The ball never came my way in baseball. So I stood out there and started going to sleep. Next thing I know, boom, right on the forehead, the ball came. At that point, yeah, I got mad, I got upset, and I said, I'm a failure, I'm never going to play baseball again. Well, to this day, I haven't played baseball, but I'm not a failure. Some of you all have tried many things in your life. And somewhere in trying all these different aspects of opportunities, you failed in some of those opportunities. But again, look at you tonight. So beautiful and so handsome because you overcame. God saw something in you and you turned around like the turtle and you looked inside yourself and you discovered in your lines that something special was in there. So that lane that you was in, you discovered that was not your lane, so you jumped off in another lane that took you right on to the what? Pinnacle. The pinnacle of success. So we try and we try. I just heard my sister said she came second, so she had to come back again. So you come third, you have to come back again. You can't throw in the towel like many have because unfortunately those that threw in the towel, unfortunately I bow my head to them. They're no longer here or they walk in the street. The richest place in this world, ladies and gentlemen, is not the Staples Center. It's not downtown. It's not the new towers that's being built in Tampa, Florida. It's the cemetery. The cemetery is the richest place in this world. So each day, like my personal mentor, Les Brown told me many years ago, son, you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry every day God come by and wake you up. You got to be ready to go out and be assertive, not aggressive. You got to go out and you got to have your game plan. You got to go out and you got to have your goals. You got to go out and be able to walk into circles that you are not tuned to walk in. You got to be able to walk in that front door with a smile on your face and knowledge in your brain and bravery in your heart to accomplish that mission that God has put you on. And with that, what the black man wants. Mr. President, I come here, as always, to the meetings in New England. I ask friends who are apologizing for not assisting upon this right. Where can the black man look in this country for the insertion of his rights? If he may not look to the Massachusetts anti-society of this day, where, I ask, under the whole heaven, can he look for sympathy in asserting this right? If he may not look at this platform, have you lifted us up to a certain height to see we are men? And then, are any disposed to leave us there without seeing that we are put in the position of all our rights? We look naturally to this platform for the assertions of all our rights, and for this one especially. I understand the anti-slavery societies of this country to be based on two principles. First, the freedom of the blacks in this country. Second, the elevation of blacks in this country. Let me not be misunderstood here. I am not asking for sympathy at the hands of the abolitionists. Sympathy at the hands of any. I think the American people are disposed often to be generous than just. I look over this country at the present time and I see educational societies, sanctuary commissions, freemen associations, and the like. All very good. But in regards to the colored people, there's always more benevolent towards us. What I ask for, the Negro, is not benevolence, not pity, not sympathy, but simple justice. The American people have always been anxious to know what they shall do with us. General Banquet was distressed with solitude as to what he should do with the Negro. Everybody has asked that one question, and they learned to ask it early to the abolitionists. What shall we do with the Negro? I only have one answer from the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, do nothing with us. If the apple shall fall off the tree because it is worm-eaten at the core, let it fall. I am not trying or fastening them back up on that tree in any way, except by nature's plan. And if they will not stay there, let them fall. And if the Negro cannot stand on his own two legs, let him fall as well. All I ask is, ladies and gentlemen, give the Negro a chance to stand on his own two legs. Let him alone. If you see him on his way to school, let him alone. Don't disturb him. If you see him going to the dinner table at a hotel, leave him alone. If you see him going to the Waffle House, leave him alone. If you see him walking by the White House, you better not touch him. Leave him alone. Your interference is doing him a positive injury. General Banks' preparation of a peace with this attempt to prop up the Negro. Well, I still say, let him fall if he cannot stand alone. If the Negro cannot live by the line of the eternal justice so beautifully pictured to him in the illustration used by Mr. Phillips, the fault is not yours. It will be his who made the Negro and established that line for his government. Let him live or die by that. If you will only untie his hands. And in this society today, you know what I'm talking about. Untie his hands. He will work readily for himself as the white man. A great many delusions have been what? Swept away by this war. One was that the Negro will not work. He has proved his ability to work. Another was that the Negro will not fight. That he possessed only the most sheepish attributes of humanity. Was that a perfect lamb or an Uncle Tom, disposed to take off his coat whenever required, fold his hands, and be whipped by anybody who wanted to whip him. But the war has proved that there is a great deal of human nature in us, we black folks. And yes, we will fight. Mr. Quincy Adams, president, said in earlier days than these, when there is a reasonable possibility of whipping anybody, it won't be the Negro. When I was 16 years old, they shipped me to Master Corvée. When they shipped me to Master Corvée, the first day I got on that plantation, Master Corvée came to me with a whip. And Master Corvée whipped me every day for flood this ocean upstream. Well, I have you know that out there picking the wheat and trying to throw it into the machine, I caught a pain in my side. And as I caught a pain in my side, I fell. And as I fell, another slave said, "Freddie, you better stand up." I tried to get up, and Master Corvette stood over me and said, "Freddie, what's wrong?" And I told him I had pain in my side. As I told him I had pain in my side, he kicked me. And I ran 7 miles into the woods until I got to another freeman's house. He gave me a rabbit and told me to put it in my right pocket. I told him I don't believe in superstition. His response was, "If you don't believe in this superstition, you will believe in that whipping that's waiting on you." I took that rabbit foot and I put it in my pocket. And when I got back to Mr. Master Corvette, he came and greeted me. "Frederick, how are you? Take the rest of the day off." I thought to myself, the rabbit foot worked. Well, that next day, while I was in the barn, saying the Negro won't fight. That next day, when I was in the barn and Master came in with that whip and it tied around my ankle, I had the courage to reach down, and when I reached down, I tied him around my wrist. And I brought Master to me. And we fought for 2 hours. Master didn't get up, I got up. And I dared Master to touch me for the rest of the time that I was there. Master had the audacity to walk by me and say, "Frederick, if you don't get in line, I'm going to get at you again. You're lucky I don't." And I said to myself, "Master, you don't want no more of this." And just for the sake of time, and I want the young people to hear this, Miss Sophia, she wasn't supposed to. She sat me down there. She treated me like I was a child of hers. And she taught me how to read. Master Hugh Ard walked in and said, "Don't teach them people how to read. You teach them how to read, they're going to want to take over." He stood before me and he said, "Frederick, you're not here to read. Don't never let me catch you reading again." I said, "Master, you'll never catch me reading again. I hate reading. I'll never read out of my mouth." But in my mind, I couldn't wait to get to a book. So my first book was The Columbian Orator. And I studied that book. And Master would send me to the store. I'd get bread and stuff it in my pocket. And white boys, poor white boys, be down there just as educated as they were, but they had no food. Me, I had the food, but didn't have no education. So we went down and we started bartering. You give me knowledge, I give you some food. Yes, Freddie. Simple words that we take for granted nowadays, like H-A-T, spells hat. Just imagine, I didn't know how to spell it. But now I know how to spell it because of them poor white boys. As time moved on, I want you to understand, I read, and I taught other slaves how to read. Time moved on because I read, and I taught other slaves how to read. It was me who was the first black man to walk in that front door. Not the back door, the front door. And when they didn't want me to be in there, President Abraham Lincoln said, "My friend, Frederick Douglass, please let him in." And President Abraham Lincoln and I, we had a discussion. And we talked about how we're going to free these slaves. And yes, I looked the president, a white man, 6'4" in stature. Me, only 6'2" in stature. I looked him in his eyes and he said, "How can I help you, Mr. Douglas?" I said, "Sir, I'm interested in knowing how we can open the door so black people in this country can be free, first of all. Second of all, I'm interested in knowing how black men who are left back at Garrison can move up and fight in this Civil War. I'm also interested in how they can get proper shelter, how they can get the pay that they deserve. And number 3, I'm here also to talk about women's rights. I'm here to see how women can vote and be free like men. Well, I have you know that Abraham Lincoln opened up the curtain, he looked down the street. You know what he was looking at? He wasn't looking down the street. He was looking at 100 years from that time when Martin Luther King in 1963 was saying free at last. But you know, 1863, January 1st, Abraham Lincoln, he had to sign that what? Proclamation. He had to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. And me and my good friends, we were in the cold, in the pit of the night in Rochester, New York, when the horse and buggy came and said, all black people in this country are forever free. Well, because I read, young people understand what I'm saying, because I read, R-E-A-D, I picked up a book. I became the first black man and president of the Freeman Savings Bank. Because I read, unbeknownst to me, I was nominated vice president of these United States. I got one vote. Because I read. I got one vote as president of these United States. Because I read. See, that when I started out on February the 14th, 1818, they gave me the name of Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. But when I got to New York, then came the Frederick Douglass. Then came the freedom to make a change and be determined that I wasn't going to let no detours, I wasn't going to let no distractions, I wasn't going to let anybody stand before me and guide me backwards. I had to go forth. And as my time wound down, on my last outing, on February 20th, 1895, at the age of 77, your friend and my friend, Miss Susan B. Anthony, welcomed me to the stage where I spoke to all the women in the conference about their freedom. And after it was said and done, and I went home to my home in Anacostia, going up the stairwell, I had a major heart attack. But my home is a national statue in Anacostia, Washington. You get a chance, go see it. I am buried in New Rochelle, next to my, which I didn't mention, forgive me, my beautiful wife, Anna. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been a free man, because she stole the ticket to get me on the train. So, women, raise your hand. Can't do nothing without you. That's how beautiful you are. So as I began to wind down, young people understand that Frederick Douglass was the first black man to lay in state in the Capitol. Frederick Douglass was the first black man to have kings and queens come from abroad to say goodbye to his greatness. Frederick Douglass, a black man, with streets named after him. I can't tell you in myself as Donald Dowridge how many times I have stood on that corner of Frederick Douglass Boulevard and 125th Street, right down the street from the world famous Apollo Theater. If you know what I'm talking about, New York, raise your hand. Destiny is all of us. Legacy is all of us. It's on you what you're going to do before you lay before the people in your last goodbye. Take advantage of every second you have. 24 seconds. That's what we got. 24 seconds in his eyes. And last but not least, my great people. Miss Jenkins, I need your permission to call all these people in name. I can't do it without your people, with your permission. I need your permission to call these people a name. I can't tell you. I just need, can I get your permission? Because I'm going to call them a name. Well, you know what? Without your permission, I'm going to call them a name anyway. All you powerful, wonderful black people that's standing out here or sitting out here looking at me. I want you, even though you may be grown, I want you to leave here tonight, wake up the rest of your life every day and grow even more. Though you may not grow physically, grow mentally, because this is yours. The drill sergeant told me many years ago, Dowridge, the maximum range of an excuse is 0.00 meters, saying that you have no excuse to be a failure. But you do have an excuse to be success. I love you. God bless. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from Frederick Douglass himself. Let's give it up for Donald Dowridge.